Manson wanted to see a race war. He said it was coming. Helter Skelter he got from the White Album of the Beatles. So you listen to all that music and you say, what does it have to do with the politics today? Everything. The same mentality is now running America. If you actually looked at the czars that Obama has put in power, their philosophy, their political philosophy matches that of 1969. That was yesterday, which, of course, if you missed yesterday's show, I can't repeat it because it's one of those every few years shows. But the point I was making was I was playing pieces from the History Channel on the Charles Manson years and Manson's murders and the terrorists of 1969. And what I said yesterday in the Savage Nation was, what does 1969 have to do with 2009? The answer was everything. That if you follow the arc of the radical underground of the 1969, they've been 40 years agitating with underground maneuvers, and now they have their man in the White House. That's what I said yesterday, and what comes out today is shockingly amazing. It shows you I can be prescient in addition to being comedic in the political arena. What I said yesterday was, follow the bouncing skulls. Go back to 1969. Go back to Manson. Go back to the Weather Underground. Go back to who? Who? Who do you go back to? Who? Bill Ayers? Mark Rudd? Go back to the Radical Weathermen? And then add another name, Jones. Not Van Jones. No, we're not talking about that radical. But another, even more radical, Jones, came out today in the New York Post by Phil Kerpen that this ex-terrorist by the name of Jeff Jones is even more radical than Van Jones. Jeff Jones, 1969, domestic terrorist in the late 60s, fugitive from justice throughout the 70s. And now, where is he now? He's a leader of an influential taxpayer-funded group. That's right. You're paying for it. Jones was a fugitive from justice for 11 years. His own account at his website says, quote, as a leader of the Weather Underground, Jeff evaded an intense FBI manhunt for more than a decade. In 1981, they finally got him. 20 special agents batted down the door of the Bronx apartment where he was living with his wife and 4-year-old son. And with Mark Rudd and Obama's good friend Bill Ayers, this Jones in 1969 co-founded the Radical Weathermen, which orchestrated the violent days of rage riots in Chicago, and later undertook an anti-government bombing campaign. Bombing campaign. He is not banned in Britain. Michael Savage, who is a talk show host, is banned in Britain. But the bomb throwers and the criminals are actually the czars of today surrounding the president. The president has over 40 czars. He meets with them on a regular basis. They advise him. He's had only one cabinet meeting with the front men. The president's cabinet is the front. The background are all shady characters, some of whom are actual terrorists. They're running your government. And if you say that this is rhetoric and you say this is all made up, you don't know what you're talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. This guy, Jones, is the director of the Apollo. I don't want to read you anymore. Go to michaelsavage.com. New York's tax-funded ex-terrorist. Now, let's go back to yesterday's brilliant show. I did a show that was very entertaining on one track, simply entertaining, comedic in the political arena, poetic in the political arena, rapping in the political arena, musical in the political arena, fun in the political arena, but underneath it all was a very serious message. And so, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, play clip 22 from yesterday, follow the bouncing skull. Manson wanted to see a race war. He said it was coming. Helter Skelter he got from the White Album of the Beatles. So you listen to all that music and you say, what does it have to do with the politics today? Everything. The same mentality is now running America. If you actually looked at the czars that Obama has put in power, their philosophy, their political philosophy matches that of 1969. I'm not accusing them of being mass murderers, comma, ... But I'm not accusing them of not being in favor of doing certain things to their political enemies that have never been done in America before, ... Read the Khmer Rouge, Pol Pot, nice guy. Little professor, Cambodia, goes to Paris, studies Marxism, comes back. He wants to create nationalized socialized medicine in Cambodia. The middle-class rebels. Pol Pot says, naughty, naughty boy and girl. This is not how it's done in the new Cambodia. In the new Cambodia, even the poor get health care. Even the poor get government care. Even the poor get this care, that care, hair care, your care, my care, his care. Then you're going to wind up in a death camp, mountain of skulls, 3 million skulls. How did that happen? Follow the bouncing skull. It started with a nice man who only wanted to do good for his people. When the people didn't want to go along with his doing good, his do-gooding, the road to you-know-where is paved with good intentions, when they didn't want to go along with it, they were forced to go along with it against their will, Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid. And so they still didn't go along with it, so he unleashed the amoral young teenagers of Cambodia, gave them AK-47s and Khmer Rouges, red scarves, and they were told to beat up the middle class. Anyone who wore glasses, they were told, was a bad person. Anyone who wore eyeglasses was educated and therefore a counter-revolutionary. So the middle class disappeared in Cambodia. They were beaten to death, worked to death, shot to death, killed to death, tortured to death. And the Khmer Rouge did it. They were young communists. They were idealists, run by a nice little man who was a professor who had gone to Paris to study Marxism, which is why you have to understand the danger you are in. We have a neo-com administration. I tried with you now for months to say it's neo-Marxist. You can't do it because the hemorrhoid with the ears didn't steal that one yet. You don't use the word. Bush and his people were called neocon, code word for Jew. Neocon this, neocon that. Israel did it. Israel blew up 9/11. Israel blew up the World Trade Center. Jew, neocon, yeah. Can't say Jew, can't say that, but you can't say neocon, so they did it for years, the left did it. Neocon. It was really anti-Semitism. Jews did it again. So now they're onto something new. Now you have the other side of the coin. Now you have Obama surrounded by neo-Marxists. Almost every one of his special advisors at some point in their life, or even currently, are avowedly communist, socialist, anarchist types. But instead of calling them by their proper designation, which is neocom, C-O-M, which would be a nice bookend to neocon, C-O-N, the media doesn't do that because they're all one in the same.
Have you seen the little biggies calling in the...
So now you understand why I have such a large audience. Now you understand it, boys and girls.
Always having done.
It's a little different. I mean, you want me to go into what is a public option? I'm going to spend time on what is a public option because the clown is going to read it tonight and tell you that without a public option, the illegal aliens won't get the proper health care they need. What is a public option? How would it work? What do proponents say about the public option? What do opponents say about the public option? Is that your only option? What option? Public what? Public what? Private who? Public option? Why do you want it? Why don't you want it? Do you want it? Don't you want it? Why does the left want a public option? Why are individual Americans opposed to a public option? What is going on here? Why is there such an uproar when this nice young professor called Obama simply wants to help the poor? How come they won't let Robin Hood rob from the rich and give to the poor? How come they won't let Robin Hood Obama do the right thing? Why do those evil white right-wingers stand in the way of this nice young man who wants to bring hope and change? I'll be right back to explain right here on the Savage Nation.
910 at 9:10 a.m. on 910 a.m. The new generation of talk radio is coming.
Birds singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
And then go to 27. That'll explain the song.
There's another song on that album that they played quite a bit, Blackbird. And there's a verse in the song Blackbird about blackbirds fixing their wings, rising up and flying. So Manson told his family that by Blackbird, come on, we know what the Beatles are talking about. They're talking about the black man. And they're telling the black man to rise up against the white.
To the line of a dark black night.
So I'm obsessed with trying to get the message out that in 1969, the radicals exploded on the scene. They killed cops. They blew things up. They tore society down. They turned the girls into prostitutes and whores in their mind. They turned half the boys into sexual deviants. The society was torn in half by 3 people. In fact, well, I don't want to give away what I'm doing, but in my new book, Banned in Britain, I really have to add this as a postscript because there's something connected here that came to me the other night. There are 3 individuals, in my opinion, who possibly have destroyed America. I'm not saying it's over yet, but it's very close to being over. There are 3 individuals who wrecked this country. Their names are Allen Ginsberg, William Kunstler, and the third one is Timothy Leary. William Kunstler was a radical communist lawyer from New York, always a left-winger, married, children. He got involved with the whole bus rides to the South. He got a lot of free nookie on the buses with patchouli oil and girls with no shaving under the